All right, what's good? What's good, man? Let's get into it. I want to give a shout out to a few people. David Corona and David Michu, I think your name is. You know my boy David's, both Davids. Shout out to both of you. John J, CG. I think Crazy Juice is a 49ers fan. All the 49ers fans on my channel. If I'm forgetting some, my apologies. This is not a shot at you at all. You guys know you're my boys. I mess with you. I rock with y'all. This is a shot at your franchise and specifically in your coach. So whatever I say, I'm not really even making fun of 49ers fans, to be honest with you. But shout out to my boys. I haven't talked to y'all in a while. God bless y'all. I hope y'all doing good, man. But I want to talk about the San Francisco 49ers and just why they're just a failure. I'm sorry. This is beyond a failure of a team. And I'm talking about from 2019 all the way to this upcoming season this year. You've had some of the best players in the NFL. Christian McCaffrey is the best running back in the NFL. You have arguably the best defensive end in the NFL with what's his name? Nick Bosa. You have arguably the best tight end, besides maybe Travis Kelce, in the NFL, George Kittle. Debo is a top 10 receiver. Brandon Ayuk might be a top 10 receiver. You have, what's his name? Oh my gosh. Who's that offensive lineman? Is it Trent Brown? Is that his name? I'm forgetting the left tackle's name, but he's a top left tackle in the NFL. Is it Trent Williams? I don't remember off the top of my head. You have him. You have Baby Palomar. You have had some of the best talent in the NFL and could not get one Super Bowl out of it? Not one. Not one. The simple fact that the Rams could get a Super Bowl before you guys is utterly, utterly ridiculous. It's beyond ridiculous. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's beyond stupid. But at the same time, it's a failure. Can we just admit this whole 49ers stigma is a failure? Because it's ridiculous. It's beyond ridiculous how much this thing has been a failure. Because, I don't get it. I just don't get it. I really don't. It's like, how can you have all that talent and fail? And I'm not even going to sit here and blame the quarterback. Everybody knows how I feel about Brock Purdy when I think about Brock Purdy. It is what it is. But at the same time, I've seen, if the Eagles can win with Nick Foles, if the Ravens can win with Joe Flacco, if whatever the other, even though average quarterbacks is an anomaly, who else won? If the Giants can win with Eli Manning, why can you guys not win with Brock Purdy or Jimmy Garoppolo? And even in that Jimmy Garoppolo year, you had Emmanuel Sanders. You've done single-handedly nothing with this team. But you want to know the common denominator of all this? Do you want to know the whole common denominator of this? The guy that gets all this credit? This guy right here. I made a Jim Harbaugh, not a Jim Harbaugh. What's this dude's name? I made a Lamar Jackson and Baltimore Ravens video, and I was saying it might be time to question John Harbaugh's employance of the Baltimore Ravens. I feel the same way about Kyle Shanahan. And shout out to my boy Valley for pointing this out to me. Me and my boy Val were on the phone talking, and he said, I think Kyle Shanahan is a mid coach who has a lot of talent. That's why he wins games. And he's absolutely right. Because if Kyle Shanahan is not up in a game, even Kyle Shanahan has no benefit unless he's versus a bum team. If he's not up, he can't win the game. I'm sorry, he can't win the game. He was up against The Browns could have. No, he was never up against the Browns. The Ravens. Wasn't he up against the Ravens? Could have won that game. He was up against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl twice. Could have won that game. He was up against the Rams in the conference championship. Didn't win that game. Kyle Shanahan needs to be fired immediately. Immediately. How in the hell do you have arguably two guys who are the best at their position, three guys at their best position. Trent Williams, I think that's who the left tackle is. Correct me if I'm wrong. But you have three guys who are the best at their positions. You have a quarterback that fits your system. You have a defense that's top 10. You have arguably two wide receivers who are in the top 10. You have arguably, if he can stay healthy, the best tight end in the league. So make that four guys you have the best at. And you have nothing to show for it. What, 2 conference championships that everybody forgot about when you lost to the Chiefs again? Again? This is beyond ridiculous. I'm sorry. The 49ers, once again, you guys are a failure. My question here is this. You're not going to have all this talent forever. When is enough enough? When are people going to sit here and say, Kyle Shanahan, you've had multiple years with a Madden roster to get it done, and yet you haven't got it done? This idiot doesn't even know the rules to the NFL. I still don't forget the simple fact that the guy thought he didn't even know the overtime rules. What coach doesn't know the rules? When is enough enough? And matter of fact, shout out to all my boys, David Corona, David Mitchell, and I hope I'm saying your name right. David, my boy David, guy out in Utah who be banging all the girls. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name right. Correct me if I'm wrong. David Mitchell, John J, CG, Crazy Juice, whoever else is a 49ers fan. DST, shout out to DST. I forgot about him too. DST. When is enough enough? When is enough enough? You're telling me you've had a Madden roster for years and this bozo couldn't get it done? He couldn't get it done? Is it time to fire him now? What culture does he bring? He didn't even know the overtime rules. He's still employed? Like, come on, man. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? Let me ask you guys something. Would Mike Tomlin do this? Hell, I ain't gonna go that far. Would Andy Reid do this? Would Mike Vrabel do this? Would Kevin Stefanski do this? Would Doug Peterson do this? Like, when is enough enough? Like, when is enough enough with this bum? We've seen the best of him. He's peaked. And you're not going to have this team forever. Like, do you guys want to look back? Like, when you see Christian McCaffrey, Nick Bosa, Debo, and Brandon Ayuk, praying to God that they make the Hall of Fame one day. Baby Palomalu, if he continues on his journey, he might make the Hall of Fame. Trent Williams. When you see all these when you look at the Cowboys back in the 90s, they have all those Hall of Famers. They have 3 championships. When you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers back in the 70s, they all those Hall of Famers, Mean Joe Green, Terry Bradshaw, Harris. What's his name? Francis or Franco, whatever his name is, Harris, RIP to him. When you see all those guys, Jack Lambert, all in the Hall of Fame, Super Bowls. When you look at this 49ers team, you have multiple Hall of Famers and no Super Bowls to show for it. None. And once again, that goes back to my point. The San Francisco 49ers are a failure. But that's my thoughts. What are yours? Do you guys agree for the last, let's just say from 2019 to now, for the last, 5 years, can we agree that this team is a absolute failure and they failed? And matter of fact, I could play this. So, it is what it is. That's my thoughts. What are yours? RJ out.